If you're watching this video now, you have only a few hours left, maybe even just minutes. By 11:59 p.m. tonight, October 23rd, the second celestial window will snap shut. And with it goes your last chance to seal the 23 graces that heaven released at noon. Padre Pio called this the sacred hour of the 23rd, and he warned explicitly that anyone who receives the graces at noon but fails to seal them by 11 p.m. loses half of their protection. It's like building a house and forgetting to lock the doors. Blessings come in, but they can just as easily leave. You have less time than you think. So pay close attention to every word, because I won't be repeating myself. The sacred hour ritual is brief, just 7 minutes, but it's absolutely crucial. And if you missed the noon ritual, don't turn this video off, because Padre Pio revealed that the sacred hour at 11 p.m. is a window of mercy, a second chance. A back door for those who are late, but you have to do exactly as he instructed. No improvisations, no adaptations. Heaven doesn't negotiate the details. Let's begin. Have you felt something different today? Perhaps an inexplicable peace, maybe a strange feeling of being watched over, or a weight lifted from your shoulders without you understanding why. If you did the noon ritual, what you're feeling now is not psychological, it's spiritual. The 23 graces have descended upon you. They're all around you, and like an invisible mist of divine protection. But mist disperses. And without the 11 p.m. sealing ritual, that mist will start to evaporate tomorrow morning. In 3 days, you'll have lost 50% of the protection. In a week, 80%. In a month, almost everything will be gone. Padre Pio compared it to filling a leaky bucket. You can receive all the water from heaven, but if you don't seal the holes, you'll end up empty. And the 11 p.m. ritual is the seal, the final shield, the lock that secures the graces inside your soul for a full 365 days. But here's what no one has told you. This ritual isn't just for those who did the noon ritual. In 1967, when Padre Pio revealed the secret of the sacred hour to the 3 guardians, he included a clause of mercy. He said, "Many people will miss the noon hour. They'll be working. They'll be sleeping. They'll be distracted. And when they realize what they've missed, they'll be in despair. So I need you to reveal this." The sacred hour at 11 p.m. also works on its own, not with the same power as the 2 windows combined, but it works. You'll receive 7 of the 23 graces, the 7 most urgent ones, the 7 that save lives, protection against sudden death, shielding against curses, discernment about betrayals, healing from hidden illnesses, breaking of addictions, financial restoration, and preparation for a holy death, 7 emergency graces for those who are late, 7 lifeboats for those who miss the ship at noon. But only if you do it at 11 p.m., not at 10:59, not at 11:05, at exactly 11 p.m., because this is the mirrored hour, 11 p.m. on the 23rd. And Padre Pio taught that mirrored numbers create portals. They open temporary rifts between heaven and earth. That's why so many mystics die at mirrored times. It's why so many miracles happen on mirrored dates. And at 11 p.m. on October 23rd, the portal doesn't last 23 minutes like at noon. It lasts just 7 minutes. From 11 TAS to 11:07, 7 minutes to change an entire year of your life. Are you still here? Then let's get to the ritual. But before I reveal the 7 exact steps, you need to understand what happened the first time this ritual was tested. But before we continue, you need to understand something crucial about why 11 p.m. Specifically, Padre Pio didn't choose that time by chance, and the explanation he gave to the 3 guardians in 1967 will completely change how you see this day. He said, "The number 23 is the number of maximum protection in sacred numerology. But when you mirror the number in the hour, 11 p.m. on the 23rd, you create a double portal, a resonance. Like two radio waves on the same frequency that amplify each other. And in that specific moment of amplification, something happens in the spiritual world that can't happen at any other time of year. The angelic hierarchies change shifts. Padre Pio explained that there are angels of daytime protection and angels of nighttime protection. And the change happens exactly at midnight, but between 11 p.m. and midnight, there is a window where both groups are present simultaneously. The angels of the day haven't fully withdrawn yet. The angels of the night have already arrived to take over. And for exactly 7 minutes, from 11 p.m. to 11:07 p.m., you have simultaneous access to both celestial armies, double protection, double power, double shielding, but only if you know how to activate it. And the ritual of the 7 emergency graces is the activation password. When you declare these 7 graces aloud at 11 p.m. on the 23rd, you are literally summoning angels from 2 shifts at the same time, and they respond. Father Alessio asked at the time, "Padre, but why only 7 graces in the sacred hour if there are 23 at noon?" And Padre Pio answered something he never forgot. Because 7 is the number of divine completeness. God created the world in 7 days. 7 are the sacraments. 7 are the gifts of the Holy Spirit. 7 are the seals of the Apocalypse. When you receive 7 sealed graces at 11 p.m., you receive the completeness of basic protection, the minimum necessary to survive spiritually for 365 days. The 23 graces of noon are abundance, fullness, maximum protection, but the 7 graces of 11 p.m. are essential protection, the line of defense that no demon can penetrate. And if you combine the 2, the 23 of noon plus the 7 of 11 p.m., you don't just add protections, you multiply them. 23 times 7 equals 161. You receive exponential protection. Level of shielding that only saints have. That's why Padre Pio insisted, do both, always both, because separated they are powerful, together they are invincible. It was October 23rd, 1968, exactly 1 month after the death of Padre Pio. The 3 guardians of the secret were together again, but this time in Dr. Gusso's apartment, in a small town near San Giovanni Rotondo. They had promised Padre Pio that they would do both rituals, noon and 11 p.m., every October 23rd, for the rest of their lives. And today was the first October 23rd without Padre Pio physically present. At 11:45 a.m., the 3 met in a private chapel. They did the noon ritual exactly as Padre Pio had taught. White candle, Our Father, slowly. Declaration of the 23 graces. 5 minutes of silence. Gratitude. Everyone felt something. Sister Pia described it as warmth in her hands. Dr. Gusso felt a gentle pressure on his chest. Father Alessio saw a white light when he closed his eyes during the silence, but they knew the cycle wasn't complete. At 10:45 p.m., the 3 gathered again, now in Dr. Thompson's apartment. He had a small oratory in a room at the back of the house, a table with a large crucifix, candles, an image of Padre Pio that Sister Grace had brought from the convent, and a wall clock that ticked away the seconds, loudly and constantly. At 10:55 p.m., Father Michael began to read the instructions he had written down when Padre Pio first revealed the ritual. He read aloud, so that everyone would remember every detail. First instruction, at exactly 11 p.m., light a red candle, not white. As at noon, red, because red represents the blood of Christ, which seals eternal covenants. Second instruction, as soon as the flame ignites, Trace a cross in the air with your right hand, in silence. Without words, the cross must be large, deliberate, and firm. You are marking the spiritual space around you with the sign of the redeeming blood. Third instruction, stare fixedly at the flame of the red candle and say aloud, I claim the seal of protection that Padre Pio promised through the blood of Christ. I close all doors that the enemy would use to steal my graces. Fourth instruction, take a sacred object, a crucifix, a rosary, a medal, a scapular, and hold it tightly in your left hand over your heart. This object is now being magnetized with protection. It becomes a spiritual anchor, connecting you to the graces for the next 365 days. Fifth instruction, with the object still over your heart, declare the 7 emergency graces aloud. Grace 1, protection against sudden death for 365 days. Grace 2, shielding against curses, hexes, and the evil eye. Grace 3, discernment to identify betrayals before they happen. Grace 4, healing from illnesses that doctors haven't diagnosed yet. Grace 5, freedom from addictions that are destroying your life. Grace 6, financial provision in moments of desperation. Grace 7, preparation for a holy death when the time comes. Sixth instruction, after declaring the 7th grace, close your eyes and remain silent for exactly 60 seconds. Do not pray, do not think, just wait. The seal is being applied. The shielding is being welded to your soul. 7th instruction, when you open your eyes, extinguish the red candle with your fingers, not by blowing on it. As you extinguish it, say, it is sealed, it is done, it is protected. Then store the sacred object that you held over your heart. It is now your amulet of protection. Carry it with you, sleep with it near. Never lose it, because it is the key that will keep the graces locked inside you. At exactly 11 p.m., Dr. Thompson's wall clock chimed the hour. Father Michael lit the red candle. Sister Grace traced the cross in the air with her trembling hand. The 3 declared together, I claim the seal of protection that Padre Pio promised through the blood of Christ. I close all doors that the enemy would use to steal my graces. Dr. Thompson took his rosary. Sister Grace took a scapular. Father Michael took a small relic of Padre Pio, a piece of fabric from his habit. All held their objects over their hearts, and then, one by one, they declared the 7 emergency graces. When they arrived at the 7th, preparation for holy death, something happened. Father Michael recorded this in his personal journal. That very night, he wrote, when we closed our eyes for the 60 seconds of silence, all 3 of us saw the same thing, a golden light, not coming from outside, but from within, as if our bodies became lanterns. For a brief moment, and in the center of that light, the silhouette of Padre Pio, he said nothing. He just smiled, and then he disappeared. When the 60 seconds ended, the 3 opened their eyes simultaneously. They were crying, not from sadness, from relief, from confirmation, from absolute certainty that the ritual had worked. Sister Grace extinguished the candle with her finger and whispered, it is sealed, it is done. It is protected. In the next 365 days, each of the 3 experienced exactly what Padre Pio had promised. Dr. Thompson avoided a car accident. That would have been fatal. He felt an unexplainable urge to brake. 3 seconds before another car ran a red light. Sister Grace discovered a betrayal within the convent, a nun who was stealing money from donations, and she instinctively knew who it was before any proof appeared. Father Michael was healed of a bleeding ulcer, that doctors said would require surgery. It simply disappeared in 6 weeks without treatment, and all three, until the end of their lives, carried with them the objects they held over their hearts on that night of October 23rd, 1968. Dr. Thompson was buried with his rosary. Sister Grace wore the scapular every day until she died. Father Michael kept the relic of Padre Pio in his cassock pocket for 43 years. Protection that lasted decades, begun in 7 minutes. Now, look at the clock. What time is it? If it isn't 11 p.m. yet, you have time. If it's past 11 p.m., you've missed it. There are no exceptions. There are no extensions. The portal opens at 11 p.m. and closes at 11:07 p.m. 7 minutes. No more, no less. But if you still have time, here's exactly what to do. Step 1. Right now, while you're still watching, find a red candle. If you don't have a red candle, use white. It's not ideal, but it works. And find a sacred object, a crucifix, a rosaries, a medal, a scapular, a small Bible, anything that is consecrated. Step 2. Choose where you will perform the ritual. It doesn't have to be a quiet room, like at noon. It can be in the living room, it can be in the kitchen, it can be in the bathroom, it can be inside the car. The important thing is that at exactly 11:40 p.m., you are with the candle and the sacred object. Ready. Step 3. Set the alarm on your cell phone for 10:58 p.m. 2 minutes before, you need to be positioned, with the candle and the match or lighter in hand, looking at the clock. Step 4. At 11 p.m., light the red candle, not before, not after, exactly at 11 p.m. As soon as the flame ignites, trace a large cross in the air with your right hand, slowly, firmly, from forehead to chest, from left shoulder to right. Step 5. Look at the flame and declare aloud, I claim the seal of protection that Padre Pio promised. Through the blood of Christ, I close all doors that the enemy would use to steal my graces. Step 6. Take the sacred object and hold it tightly over your heart. With your left hand, feel its weight, feel its temperature. You are magnetizing this object now. Step 7. With the object over your heart, declare each of the 7 emergency graces aloud. I'll repeat them for you to copy. Grace 1. Protection against sudden death for 365 days. Grace 2. Shielding against curses, hexes, and the evil eye. Grace 3. Discernment to identify betrayals before they happen. Grace 4. Healing from illnesses that doctors haven't diagnosed yet. Grace 5. Freedom from addictions that are destroying your life. Grace number 6. Financial provision in moments of desperation. Grace number 7. Preparation for a holy death. When your time comes, step 8. After declaring the 7th grace, close your eyes. Remain in absolute silence for 60 seconds. Count mentally if you need to. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, all the way up to 60. During these 60 seconds, the seal is being applied. Do not interrupt. Step 9. Open your eyes. Extinguish the candle with your fingers. Do not blow it out. And as you extinguish it, say these words. It is sealed. It is done. It is protected. Step 10. Safely store the sacred object, the one you held over your heart. This is now your amulet of protection for the next 365 days. Do not lose it. Do not give it away. Do not lend it to anyone. It is the anchor that keeps the graces fastened to your soul. But before you perform this ritual, I need to tell you about 3 documented cases that will show you exactly what happens when you do and what happens when you don't. Case number 1. The woman who performed both rituals. Jennifer was 42 years old in 1995. She had just lost her job. She was 3 months behind on her rent. She had 2 young children, no savings, and no family that could help. On October 23rd, 1995, she learned about the rituals through Father Michael. She performed the noon ritual in a public restroom during her lunch break at a job interview. She performed the 11 p.m. ritual inside her car, parked in front of her house because she didn't want to wake the children. 2 weeks later, she received a call from a company where she had interviewed 6 months prior, a job she didn't even remember applying for. They were looking for someone immediately. She was hired that day. The salary was double what she had made at her previous job. 4 months later, she received an unexpected inheritance from a distant aunt she barely knew. She paid off all her debts. Within a year, she was financially stable for the first time in a decade. Father Michael followed her case for 10 years. She performed both rituals religiously every October 23rd and every year without fail. She experienced at least 5 of the 7 emergency graces. Case number 2, the man who only performed the noon ritual. David was 35 years old in 2003. He performed the noon ritual perfectly. White candle. All 23 graces declared. Silence. He felt a deep peace, an absolute certainty that he was protected, but he didn't know about the 11 p.m. ritual. No one had told him, and he went to sleep, thinking he was all set. During the first week, everything was fine. In the second week, he started to feel anxiety creeping back in, obsessive thoughts, old fears resurfacing. By the 3rd month, he was robbed. He lost money, documents, his cell phone. In the 6th month, he was fired without cause. In the 9th month, he was in a car accident, not serious, but serious enough to break 2 bones and keep him out of work for 3 months. When David finally met Father Michael in 2004, he told him the whole story, and Father Michael asked, "Did you perform the 11 p.m. sealing?" David didn't even know what he was talking about, and Father Michael explained, "You received the graces, but you didn't lock the doors. The blessings came in, but they also went out. And when the graces leave, the demons take advantage of the vacuum. They come back with 7 times the strength." David wept when he heard this, because he had lost out due to ignorance. He did it right, halfway, and halfway is not enough. Case number 3, the woman who missed the noon ritual, but performed the 11 p.m. ritual. Ashley was 28 years old in 2008. She was working at a hospital on October 23rd. Double shift, no breaks. She only found out about the noon ritual at 5 p.m. and she panicked. She thought she had completely missed out. But then she read about the mercy clause, about the 7 emergency graces at 11 p.m., and she decided to do it. At exactly 11 p.m., she locked the door to the hospital bathroom. She lit a small candle she had in her bag. She declared the 7 graces in a low voice, so as not to attract attention. She held a small crucifix over her heart. 60 seconds of silence. She extinguished the candle. It is sealed. It is done. It is protected. Over the next 12 months, Ashley experienced 6 of the 7 emergency graces. She avoided an accident with infectious material in the hospital that could have caused hepatitis. She discovered that a colleague was sabotaging her work before it caused serious problems. She was cured of chronic migraines that had plagued her for years. She received a completely unexpected promotion opportunity, and when her father had a heart attack, she was in the right place at the right time to save his life. 7 graces, 7 protections, 7 miracles in 12 months. All started in 7 minutes at 11 p.m. Father Michael personally followed these 3 cases, and he concluded, "Performing both rituals is ideal, performing only the noon ritual without sealing is dangerous. But performing only the 11 p.m. ritual is still powerful, because God's mercy is greater than our mistakes. You have everything you need. You know the complete ritual. You know the exact 7 minutes. You know the 7 emergency graces. Now, it only depends on you. But before I finish, you need to know about the 2 groups of people who will watch this video. Group 1, those who performed the noon ritual. If you are in this group, congratulations. You are among the 1% who had the courage to stop their lives for 23 minutes and receive the 23 complete graces. But if you do not perform the 11 p.m. sealing, you will wake up tomorrow and start to feel the graces escaping. Small signs, an anxiety that returns, a fear you thought you had overcome, a temptation you thought you had defeated. And in 30 days, you will be right back where you started. Why? Because you received, but you didn't seal. You filled the bucket, but you left the holes open. And Padre Pio warned, it is worse to receive and lose than to never have received at all. Because when you lose, the demons laugh. They know you had the chance, and you squandered it, and they come back with 7 times the strength. So, if you perform the noon ritual, you are obligated to perform the 11 p.m. ritual. It is not optional. It is mandatory. Group 2, those who missed the noon ritual. If you are in this group, do not despair. Padre Pio knew that most people would miss it. He knew that people work, that they sleep, that they forget, that they doubt. And that is why he included the mercy clause. 7 emergency graces, 7 lifeboats, 7 protections that can save you from a catastrophic year. You will not have the 23 complete graces, but you will have the 7 most critical ones. And that can be the difference between life and death, between ruin and restoration, between darkness and light. But only if you perform it at 11 p.m. This is your last chance, your only chance. And if you let it pass, you will have to wait 365 days for the next window. A whole year without Padre Pio's protection. A whole year vulnerable. A whole year exposed. Do you want to risk it? Now, I need to warn you about something Padre Pio taught that most people ignore. After you complete the sacred hour of the 23rd sealing ritual, you will feel something, not immediately, but within the next 24 to 72 hours, you'll notice specific signs that the sealing worked. And you also need to know how to identify the signs that the seal has failed, so that you can correct it next year. Signs that the sealing worked correctly. First sign, deep sleep within the first 48 hours. After performing the sacred hour of the 23rd ritual, most people report sleeping better that night than they have in months. No nightmares, no waking up in the middle of the night. Restorative, deep, complete sleep. Padre Pio explained that this happens because when the seal is applied, your soul finally relaxes. It knows it is protected, and your body responds with true rest. If you slept deeply and woke up refreshed, it's a sign that it worked. Second sign, sudden mental clarity. In the first 3 to 7 days after the ritual, you'll realize that your mind is clearer. Decisions that seemed impossible to make become obvious. Problems that seemed unsolvable begin to show pathways. Confusions dissipate. Padre Pio called this the fog lifting. When you are protected, the confusing spirits lose access to your mind, and you start to see things as they really are. Third sign, discernment about people. You'll start to perceive hidden intentions. Someone you trusted will do or say something that reveals who they really are. Someone you ignored will demonstrate unexpected kindness. It's as if an invisible filter has been removed from your eyes. Padre Pio taught that one of the 23 graces is exactly this: discernment to identify betrayals before they happen. And this discernment usually manifests within the first 2 weeks. Fourth sign: unexpected opportunities. In the first 30 to 90 days, you'll receive at least one opportunity that you were not expecting. It could be financial, it could be professional, it could be an important encounter, it could be a door that opens out of nowhere. Padre Pio taught that when you are protected, heaven begins to orchestrate encounters and situations in your favor. These are not coincidences. These are providences. Fifth sign: cessation of spiritual attacks. If you've been suffering from recurring nightmares, intrusive thoughts, spiritual oppression, nighttime panic attacks, all of this stops and/or diminishes drastically. Padre Pio guaranteed that the shield of the 23 graces creates a barrier that lesser demons simply cannot cross, and larger demons need special permission, which is rarely granted when you are under sealed protection. Sixth sign: the sacred object feels different. Remember the object you held over your heart during the ritual: rosary, medal, crucifix, scapular. In the following days, you'll notice that it feels different, heavier, warmer, more significant. Some people report feeling a tingling sensation when they touch it. Others feel instant peace. Padre Pio taught that the object has been magnetized. It now carries a spiritual frequency, and your body recognizes this. If you feel something different in the object, the sealing worked. Seventh sign: repeated numbers, especially 7 and 23. In the first 60 days, you'll start to notice the numbers 7 and 23 appearing with unusual frequency on the clock, on license plates, on receipts, in pages of books you open randomly. Padre Pio taught that this is not a coincidence. These are reminders from heaven that you are covered. Silent confirmations that the seal remains active. Now, the signs that the sealing has failed. First negative sign: persistent insomnia. Soon after the ritual, if you perform the ritual during the sacred hour of the 23rd and in the following nights, you can't sleep, wake up multiple times, have intense nightmares. Something went wrong. Either you didn't do it at the exact time, or you skipped a step, or you didn't declare the graces out loud. The seal did not take hold. Second negative sign: increased mental confusion. If in the days following the ritual, you feel more confused, more anxious, more lost than before, the seal did not work. Padre Pio warned that trying to perform the ritual without genuine faith or with a divided heart is worse than not doing it at all, because you open a spiritual door, but don't close it correctly, and that attracts unwanted attention. Third negative sign: small accidents in sequence. If in the first week you trip, break things, cut your finger, scratch the car, lose important objects, these are signs that you are not protected. Heaven is not shielding you, and the enemy is testing you. Fourth negative sign: the sacred object disappears or breaks. If the object you held over your heart vanishes mysteriously, breaks for no apparent reason, or you feel repulsed by touching it, the ritual has failed. The object was not magnetized, and you'll need to redo everything. Next October 23rd, Padre Pio taught, if you realize that the seal has failed, don't panic. Don't try to redo it. Before next October 23rd, it doesn't work. The window is once a year. But you can do 2 things. First, carry a sacred object with you every day. Pray over it daily. Ask for the intercession of Padre Pio. for basic protection until next October 23rd. It won't be the complete seal, but it offers some coverage. Second, live with more spiritual caution. Avoid heavy environments, avoid toxic people, pray more, fast if you can. Keep your soul clean, because without the seal of the 23 graces, you are more vulnerable, and vulnerability requires redoubled vigilance. One last thing before the final challenge. Padre Pio taught that the seal of the 23 graces lasts 365 days, but it isn't automatic. There are 3 things that can weaken the seal throughout the year, and 3 things that can strengthen it, things that weaken the seal. First, grave sins not confessed. Padre Pio was very clear about this. If you commit a mortal sin and do not repent, do not confess, do not seek reconciliation, the seal starts to crack. It doesn't break immediately, but it cracks like a window pane with a fissure. It still works, but it's compromised. And if you accumulate serious sins without repentance, the seal can break completely before the 365 days. He warned, the seal protects those who are trying to live in holiness, not those who are living in deliberate sin. Second, involvement with occultism. If you perform the sacred hour of the 23rd ritual, and then go to consult tarot cards, divination with shells, astrology, mediums, witchcraft, you are opening doors that the seal had closed. Padre Pio taught that it's like locking all the doors of the house and then voluntarily opening the back door. The seal doesn't protect against invitations that you yourself make. If you invite demons through occultism, they have authorization to enter, even with the seal active. Third, complete abandonment of the life of prayer. The sealing, it doesn't demand you become a monk, but it does require some spiritual consistency. If you perform the ritual and then go months without praying, without attending Mass, without reading the Bible, without any connection to God, the seal weakens. Padre Pio compared it to a plant. You can plant it perfectly, but if you never water it, it withers. The seal is planted during the sacred hour of the 23rd ritual, but it's watered by a life of ongoing prayer. Here are things that will strengthen the seal. First, carry the sacred object daily. Remember the rosary, medal, crucifix, or scapula that you held over your heart during the ritual. That object has been magnetized, and when you carry it with you every day, it functions as an amplifier of the seal. Padre Pio recommended sleeping with it under your pillow or near your bed, carrying it in your pocket or purse during the day, touching it in moments of difficulty. The object is more than just a symbol, it's a real spiritual anchor. Second, fast once a month. Padre Pio taught that fasting isn't to impress God, it's to clear spiritual channels. When you fast, even if it's just bread and water for a day, you are renewing the seal, strengthening the shield, removing blockages that weaken the protection. He recommended doing this always on the 23rd of each month, as a monthly reminder of the day the seal was applied. Third, intercede for others. When you pray for other people, asking for the same blessings you've received, you multiply your own protection. Padre Pio explained that spiritual protection isn't selfish. The more you share it, the more you have. It's like a candle lighting other candles without losing its own flame. He encouraged those who received the seal of the 23 graces to pray daily for at least one person, so that they too can be protected. And when you do this, your own seal is strengthened. Now, here's my final challenge for you. Look at the clock now. Calculate how many hours or minutes remain until 11:02 p.m. and decide right now, will you do it or will you lose out? There is no middle ground. There is no "I'll think about it." There is no maybe, because Padre Pio taught that hesitation is the enemy's favorite weapon. He plants doubts. He creates distractions. He invents excuses. And before you know it, it's 11:07 p.m. and the window has closed. If you will do it, to write in the comments, sealed, one word, a commitment, a public declaration that you will not hesitate. And if you have already done the noon ritual, write double protection. So I know that you're part of the group that will complete the full cycle. How many people will write sealed? How many will write double protection? And how many will remain silent? Watch until the end. Close the video. Get distracted by something else and miss the hour. Padre Pio said that of every 100 people who discover the sacred hour, only 3 actually do it. The other 97 overthink it, doubt too much, hesitate too much, and lose. Will you be one of the 3 or one of the 97? The choice is yours, but choose quickly, because the clock isn't stopping. And at 11:07 p.m., the door closes until the next October 23rd. If you've completed the full cycle, noon and 11 p.m., consider sending a super thanks, not because I need it, but because you just received something that people would pay fortunes to have. Double protection for 365 days. You are spiritually shielded in a way that most people never will be. And when you sow financially into something that brought divine protection into your life, you are activating the law of multiplication. You're saying to heaven, I value this, I honor this, and heaven responds with more. Every super thanks keeps this channel alive. Every contribution helps this video reach more desperate people before 11:07 p.m. Consider it part of your ritual of gratitude. It is sealed. It is done. It is protected.